Hello friends, welcome to Senior Coding Platform. In today's session, we are going to develop a game basis on coin flipping. So hope you know the coin flipping, it has some two parts. One is head and second one is tail. Here I'm going to set the game with the computer basis. Maybe I can explain with this example. I may be the user. I'm just selecting the selection of head. So even the computer is also selected the head. You can able to see on here the coin is flipping and it's showing the result. It gives the player selected his head and the computer is also selected head, where it adds a score for each one. So for me the score is also added, and for computer also the score is added. I have also set a condition: those who win the first 5 points, they will be the winner. Next I'm choosing. Normally the selection, it's purely done by the user. Okay, again I'm selecting the head. Even the computer is selected as head. Now it shows nothing, and again I'm selecting the head. The computer chosen tail, where the computer is won and the score is added over here. Next I'm going to add again head. It makes that player to be 2 and the computer to be 3. Okay, now I'm choosing the tail. The computer is selected as head, where the point is added to me. Again I'm selecting the tail. Both the case it has been selected the tail. Okay, so it now for me also the score is 4 and the computer also 4. Now I'm choosing the head. So it shows when the player and the computer value is equal, it shows the matches tie. Okay, so if example maybe I'm getting the 5 initially first, then it shows the player has won. Or else if the computer is getting the 5 value in the sense, it shows the computer has won. So this is purely a game basis where we are going to create with the simple concepts on HTML and CSS. So without delay we can start the session and we can create this coding on the Xenia platform. So under the HTML part, I'm going to create initially the division of class, where I'm adding as canvas. So next I'm going to add the heading 1, H1 part, which is the first player. You can able to notice our example. We have created the heading 1 now, so I'm just recreating on this. First player to 5 points win. So next on the continuation, I'm going to add the division class of selection, where it should selected by the player, and it required the span inline element. I'm going to use span ID, where the player need to select, that is player selection. They have to choose either head or tail. So next I'm going to create under the division ID of as center, so next I'm making their division ID as winner, again I'm choosing the division ID of its image. So whether it's head or tail, whatever the thing is choosing, that we need to display it. So you can download the image from the web browser and you can upload this particular thing. For to upload this file, choose this bag. Under the image, I have already done the image, tails and head, and you just click on the submit button. So next after this division part, again I'm going to add a division where the ID I'm choosing as player. So under the player, the span ID, which is player score, it should it should display the player score where it should start from the value of 0. Next I'm closing the span. Similarly, I'm repeating the process for computer also. I'm just copying and pasting over here, and I'm changing here as computer. Here I'm changing as computer. Again I'm changing here as computer score. Computer score. So I'm just making the division part to be close. Again, after this division, I'm creating one more division. So under the division, I'm making here as h2 for make selection. So I'm closing this heading part. Next, there should be a button for head and tail. So button ID, which is heads, closing heads. So next I'm processing one more ID, that is button ID of tails. Tails. So after this, I'm writing the scripting part where my script source, which is equivalent to app.js, and the script is over. So I'm just creating the script file. So we are going to write the functionality for this head and tailing game development. So on the scripting part, I'm going to create the function of a tally score where it should pick the random and user pick as well as the computer pick. So the constant could be the player display, and where it should get the query selector from the player score, and similarly I need to process the computer display, and next I need to create the computer winner. After this, I'm going to create a condition. If user pick is equal to random, then the value should be added. If computer pick is equivalent to random, then their value is also should be increased. So I'm just making as function tally score where it should process the random and that random should be taken from the user. Maybe it is us, and the second one could be the computer. Next, we have to select the scoreboard from the DOM. That is, it is also constant, and I'm making as player display, where it should use a document dot query selector player score. Player score. So next, I'm making the constant computer display, that is also should select from the document, that is query selector dot ash computer score. So next I'm making their constant, which is the winner, where it should select from document dot query selector dot ash winner. If user pick is equivalent to random, then it should display, the user score value should increase. Again, if computer pick is equivalent to random, then the computer score should increase. So next I'm making the display content. So under the display content, the player display should be the text content, and it get the value from the user of user score. So similarly, I'm repeating this process for computer. Computer computer. So under this also I want to create a condition. If I'm making as if user score is 5 or the computer score is 5, then it shows as a match is tie. If the user score is 5, then it shows that we have won. If the computer score is 5, then it have to show the computer is won. So we are going to create this kind of process under this loop. So I'm making as if user score is equivalent to 5. And also I'm also using the operator of condition, and the computer score is also equivalent to 5. Then it shows my winner dot inner HTML is under the h1, I mean under the heading tag. It's type. So again I'm making the else if part. Else if user score is equivalent to 5, under the winner dot inner HTML, it is winner dot inner HTML is I'm just making as it is it's you win. So I'm just closing this heading tag. We need to use the statement to be closed. Next I'm making the same thing. Where I'm using as computer, and here I'm making as computer win. So next we need to add the event listener to the button. For this I'm going to continue button for each where I have to set the function, that is button for each where I am using the function and I'm adding their button, and I'm making to be constant of random, which need to round off, that is math round, and it should display the random value. For this I'm using math random. So next I'm processing the computer selects head or tail. For this also we need to write the function, that is constant computer pick, which is equivalent to math dot round math dot random. So next I'm processing for the computer selection. that for this I'm using this let computer selection if computer pick is equivalent to 1, then it should say yes computer, that is computer have to select, the computer selection should be is equivalent to heads. Else I'm making as the computer selection is tails. So next we need to process for the spin the coins. To spin the coins, I'm making as constant spin, which is equal to document dot query selector, and I need to insert the image. So already the image is inserted. So next for the spin class list of that add is here act as a function that should be animate. Next we need to record the user selection. For this I'm writing as constant user selection is equivalent to e dot, I am setting as e dot target dot id, and I'm making that user pick. So here also I'm making the condition if user selection is equivalent to heads, then I'm making as user pick is equivalent to 1. So else I'm making else if user pick is equivalent to tails, I'm making the user pick is equivalent to 0. So we need to display the player or computer selection in the selected portion of DOM. For this I'm processing here as we need to type the output over here, whereas I'm using the display selection, which is of user selection as well as the computer selection. So it should tell the random also. Display random, which is of random. Yes, this is over. So far we have created the scripting part, still the styling part is pending to execute this output. For the image, I am creating their background Maybe you can use some URL. I have already used the URL, no? That URL I'm mentioning. Background, and I'm adding as heads.png. You have to check whether it's PNG format or it is in the JPEG format. Next, I'm making their width with this 227 pixel, and I'm making their height to be 337 pixel. And for the class of animate, I'm making their background maybe I'm just copying. So again for this I'm making their animate here I'm using the animate name as spin. Next, the animate iteration, I'm going to use one more function as animate iteration, which is 2. Next, I'm making their animate duration is maybe 5. You can 5 second. Again for the class of canvas, I'm processing their width to be 800 pixel and their height to be 500 pixel and margin to be 50 pixel, and I'm making as auto. So next I'm making the text alignment to be center and making their font family to be Arial. You can choose according to your wish. And again I'm choosing their font size is 1.5 mm. So next for the center, I'm making their to be 227 pixel and margin I'm making here as 15 pixel and auto. Again I'm making the selection of player and computer. Where I'm making their display as inline and I'm making their margin to be auto, and I'm making their font size to be 1.3, and similarly I'm repeating for the button too. Let me see the output on the web browser. So this is what we have done on the styling part. I have added some more thing, that is keyframes, where I have uploaded the images of head and this thing. Maybe here I already need 5 seconds. Let it be 5 seconds. Under the app, we have done the functionality, and I have inserted the image. Let's see. So you can able to see the coin is waiting for 5 seconds. If you want to increase, you can, under the coding part, you can change the duration also. Okay, hope this session it gives a clear picture for creating the head and tail, which we are playing through the computer. I hope the session makes very interesting and useful to you. You can see on the next interesting video. Thank you.